Hey everyone, welcome back to the Deep Dive. We're diving into some really fascinating stuff today, stuff you've been thinking about a lot lately, your career as an administrator. Yeah, you've sent over some super interesting material, and we're going to take a look at it, but with a bit of a twist.
A twist, yeah. We're not dissecting a whole industry or a specific company today. We're taking a classic business tool, you've probably heard of it, Michael Porter's 5 Forces, and we're aiming it right at you. Your professional journey, your path as an administrator, kind of like thinking of your career, if you will, as its own little business, its own unit out there in the competitive world.
I love that. It's like getting this X-ray vision into all the pressures and forces that are shaping things for you out there.
Yeah.
We're going to unpack all 5 of these forces one by one. First up, it's the rivalry. Think all those other administrators, the ones with similar skills and experience, all vying for the same opportunities.
Right, exactly.
Then we've got this wave of new folks, new administrators bursting onto the scene. What kind of threat do they pose? Then we'll flip the script and look at your customers, so to speak, your employers, the clients, anyone you're working for. How much power do they have?
Absolutely. And we can't forget about your suppliers, too. These are the folks providing you with the essential stuff. Think software, the training you need, the information that keeps you at the top of your game. They wield power, too, and we'll explore that.
Right, they do. And last but certainly not least, we got to tackle this whole idea of substitute products or services. Are there new technologies lurking out there? Entirely different roles. Could some of your administrative functions get, well, replaced? A little scary, but we're going to face it head on.
We are. And our mission here is pretty straightforward. We're all about giving you this strategic lens, this new way of seeing your career. You'll grasp how these external forces are actually molding your path as an administrator. And more importantly, you'll walk away with some killer strategies. Strategies that'll not only help you survive out there, but really, truly thrive.
All right, let's jump right in with the first force. Rivalry among existing competitors. Now, in the business world, we're talking companies slugging it out, right?
Right.
But for you, in your day-to-day professional life, what does this look like? Who are you actually competing with?
It's all about the other administrators in your field. The folks with a similar skill set, similar experience, who are also gunning for those promotions, those new roles, those exciting opportunities. It's the competition for those resources, basically.
Makes total sense.
Yeah.
Picture this, right? 2 administrators, both with, let's say, killer logistics backgrounds. They both have their sights set on the same job at a major manufacturing company. Boom, rivalry in action.
Precisely. And this rivalry, well, it's fueled by a bunch of factors. Your sources really highlight the sheer number of professionals in some areas of the market. Talk about a crowded room. Then there's the differentiation game, right? What makes you shine? What sets you apart from that sea of equally qualified candidates?
It's your education, obviously, the experience you've racked up, but it's also, and increasingly so, this beautiful blend of soft skills and digital prowess. Can you talk about that a bit?
Yeah, absolutely. It's no longer just about that static resume, right? It's about your reputation, the brand you've built for yourself. Word gets around, good or bad, and a solid, glowing reputation can really tip the scales in your favor.
No kidding. It's like that invisible advantage. Okay, so how do we navigate this sometimes cutthroat rivalry? What does the sort of material suggest? Are there some go-to strategies?
Oh, there are, and they're super practical. First up, it's all about crafting this crystal clear value proposition. Think, what are your superpowers? What unique strengths do you bring that others don't?
And just as importantly, how do those strengths translate into hard, tangible wins for your future employer? It's got to be front and center, right?
100%. And to really amplify this, it's all about cultivating that personal brand. It's not just vanity, it's strategic. Think about contributing to those industry publications, the ones everyone reads, presenting at those big conferences, making those connections, both online and offline. It's about planting those seeds and becoming known, becoming respected in your field.
Becoming that go-to expert, the thought leader, right? The source material really emphasizes this.
It does. And there's another piece of the puzzle here, specialization. Getting those certifications that are in high demand, it's about staying ahead of the curve.
So we're talking digital transformation, knowing your way around data analysis, and even that whole ESG thing, environmental, social, and governance factors. Big stuff.
Huge. And by going deep into these specialized areas, well, you're essentially shrinking your pool of direct competitors. You're carving out your niche, and that, my friend, is a powerful move.
Makes a ton of sense. Okay, let's shift gears to the second force, the threat of new competitors. So in the business world, This is when a brand new company just bursts onto the scene and throws everyone off balance. How does this translate to your career, your journey as an administrator?
It's all about these fresh faces, these new professionals entering the administrative arena. They're often armed with the latest and greatest skills, the newest tech, these cutting edge approaches that might not be as common among, well, the more seasoned folks in the profession.
Yeah, those recent grads, the ones right out of school who are coming in hot with all that shiny new knowledge about things like agile methodologies or the latest digital collaboration tools, they're ready to rock, right?
They are. And this threat, it's not just theoretical, it's real. A couple of reasons for this. Firstly, in some administrative fields, getting your foot in the door isn't actually that difficult. There aren't these huge barriers to entry.
And then you've got online education exploding, right? It's everywhere. It's accessible. More and more people can acquire these administrative skills, and they can do it pretty darn quickly.
That's right. And the pace of change in this field is mind-boggling. What was considered cutting edge a few years ago, it's practically ancient history now. It's a treadmill.
It is. It's this constant race to stay ahead. So how do we keep up? How do we lessen this threat? What could you do to make sure you're not getting left behind?
Well, according to the source material, there are some proactive steps you can take. And it starts with commitment. Commitment to continuously developing your skills, to always be learning, to be in that perpetual student mode.
So it's not enough to just have those initial qualifications. You got to keep upgrading, right?
Yeah.
What else?
You gotta actively seek out those chances, those opportunities to be part of innovation projects. Whatever your current role is, see where you can get your hands dirty with new technologies, new ways of doing things. This isn't just theoretical learning. It's real-world experience. That's gold.
It is, and it shows you're not afraid to evolve, to experiment.
Exactly. And perhaps most importantly, embrace this idea of being a lifelong learner. That's the mindset shift. Learning isn't something you finish, it's an ongoing journey. And in a world that's constantly evolving, that's how you stay relevant. That's how you stay ahead of the game.
Couldn't agree more. Okay, let's dive into force number 3, the bargaining power of customers. Now, when we talk about customers in the traditional business sense, we're talking about the folks buying the products, right? But for you, the administrator, who are these customers and what kind of influence do they have over you?
Your customers, they're essentially the organizations, the companies, the individual employers who are seeking out your particular administrative skill set. And their bargaining power, well, it boils down to their ability to dictate the terms, basically.
Terms of your employment, salary, even the level of performance they expect from you. It's a power dynamic.
It is. We've all heard the horror stories or maybe lived them ourselves. The company wants you to juggle a million things, finance, HR, maybe even strategic planning, all for a salary that, well, doesn't quite match that workload. Talk about leverage. That's customer bargaining power in full effect.
Not fun at all. So what factors give these customers this kind of upper hand, this leverage? What are the dynamics at play?
It's multifaceted, really. One major factor is the sheer availability of other qualified professionals. If there's a ton of administrators with similar skills, well, employers have more options. More options equal more power.
It's a supply and demand thing.
It is. But your level of specialization also plays a role. Highly specialized skills can mean fewer candidates, which can actually weaken the employer's position.
Interesting. So the more specialized you are, the more unique your skill set, the more power you potentially have.
You got it. And don't underestimate the importance of showcasing results, tangible achievements, being able to demonstrate with concrete evidence the value you bring. That's negotiation gold right there.
It's not just what you do, but what you've actually achieved. It's about proving your impact.
Exactly. And that brings us to the strategies. The source material really digs into how to strengthen your negotiating position. First and foremost, it's all about communication. Can you clearly articulate the return on investment that your work brings?
So it's about quantifying your wins. You're not just listing responsibilities, but really highlighting the concrete benefits you've delivered. Show them the numbers.
Exactly. Numbers talk. Then leverage your past successes, your experience. Don't just passively accept that first offer that comes your way. Make a strong case for your worth based on what you've already accomplished. You have a track record, use it.
Don't undervalue yourself.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Anything else we can do to kind of tip those scales a bit?
Well, think about offering services that go above and beyond, that add extra value. Maybe it's consulting, training, data analysis. If you can step outside that traditional administrative box, you become more valuable, less replaceable. You become an asset, not just a cog in the wheel.
I like that. Yeah. Okay, on to force number 4, Bargaining power of suppliers. Now, we typically think of suppliers as those providing materials, parts, that kind of thing. But who are the suppliers in your world, in the world of an administrator?
Think of them as the providers of your essential resources, the things you absolutely need to do your job well to keep pushing your career forward.
We're talking the tech vendors, right? The
Mhm.
software, the platforms, the information providers, those offering crucial training, certifications, anyone who's giving you the tools, the knowledge that you need to succeed.
Yep. And let me give you a concrete example. Imagine these digital platforms charging an arm and a leg for their software that's become essential for your work, or organizations offering those must-have professional certifications, but at a hefty price. That's supplier power. They know you need it.
It's like they have you over a barrel. And they're not always going to be super friendly about it either.
Right. It's business. Now, a few things contribute to this power dynamic. Dependence is a biggie. If you rely heavily on a specific software, a specific license, and there are no real alternatives out there, well, the supplier's sitting pretty. They have the
They
leverage.
can pretty much dictate the terms.
They can. And then there's the cost of keeping your skills up to par. Professional development, staying updated, that's not always cheap. And sometimes there are these pesky barriers, tech barriers, maybe even language barriers that can limit your access to other resources. It's frustrating.
It is. So as an administrator, how do you push back? How do you level the playing field when it comes to this supplier power? What are our options here?
The source material has some smart suggestions. First, whenever you can, explore those open source solutions or find free alternatives. Anything that lessens your dependence on that pricey proprietary software, it's out there. You just have to look.
Love that. Be resourceful. What else?
Build networks, connect with other professionals, share those resources. Create these collaborative hubs where you can exchange knowledge, access training opportunities, all without breaking the bank.
It's like pooling your power, right?
Oh.
Kind of a collective bargaining approach.
Yeah.
Really smart.
Exactly. Strengthen numbers. And here's a big one. Invest in your own tech skills. The more you know, the less you'll need to rely on external support or those complicated, overpriced tools.
Knowledge is power, especially in this day and age. Okay, we've arrived at the final force, the big one, the threat of substitute products or services. Now, this can feel a little, I don't know, abstract, I guess, when we're talking about a person's career. Can you unpack this for us? What does it mean for someone working in an administrative role?
Sure. Imagine these new technologies popping up. Automated platforms, AI, you name it. Or even brand new job roles being created. These are the substitutes, and they have the potential to muscle in and take over some, maybe even all of the tasks you, the administrator, traditionally handle.
So, to put it bluntly, there's a chance you could be replaced.
Right. There's a chance, yes. And let me paint you a picture. Imagine this super sophisticated business management software. It's so smart, it can practically run your entire financial planning process on autopilot. Do you really need a human for that anymore?
Scary thought.
Or think about those AI-powered virtual assistants,
Yes.
the ones that can handle scheduling, communication, all those routine admin tasks. It's like having a tireless digital assistant who never takes a break.
And never asks for a raise.
Never ask for a raise. The point is, these substitutes, they offer organizations a different way to get things done, a way that might not need a human in the traditional administrative sense.
Okay, not the happiest thought.
Right.
But it's the reality, right? So, what's driving this whole substitute threat? What are the forces at play here?
Well, first and foremost, it's the sheer speed of technological advancement. AI, automation, they're evolving at a breakneck pace, and they're getting smarter, more capable.
They're getting cheaper, right?
They are. Then there's this growing acceptance in the market of solutions that don't need human intervention. People are getting used to, even comfortable with, the idea of letting technology handle things.
It's becoming the norm.
It is. And of course, the more we automate those repetitive tasks, the more vulnerable those specific admin roles become.
So this isn't something we can just ignore, right? We got to figure out how to navigate this.
Yeah.
What does the source material recommend? How can administrators not just survive this, but actually turn it to their advantage?
The key is a mindset shift. See these technologies, these tools, not as enemies, but as allies. Learn them, master them, make them work for you.
Become the master of the machines, right?
Exactly. And here's the crucial part. Double down on those uniquely human skills, the ones that are way harder to automate.
Yeah.
Leadership, critical thinking, ethical judgment, navigating those complex problems, those are your superpowers.
It's about stepping up, moving beyond those routine tasks, and into that strategic, high-level thinking zone.
You got it. Position yourself as the bridge between the tech and the organization's big picture strategy. Understand how these new tools can achieve business goals, and be the one who guides that integration. Be indispensable.
Wow, this has been a seriously eye-opening look at Porter's 5 forces and how they actually apply to a person's career, their path.
It's a powerful framework, isn't it? And the big takeaway here is that this model, something usually reserved for analyzing businesses, can provide administrators with this amazing strategic lens to view their own careers within this competitive landscape.
And as we've seen, each of these 5 forces, they're all intertwined. The rivalry, the new folks entering the field, the power dynamics with customers and suppliers, and that looming threat of substitutes. It can feel overwhelming.
It can. But here's the thing. These challenges, they're also flashing neon signs, pointing you toward opportunities. Opportunities for those who are willing to really understand what's shifting, what's changing, and adapt.
The administrator of today, it's a whole new ballgame, right? You can't just coast on those old school skills.
Yeah.
It's about becoming a strategist, a tech-savvy pro, a master communicator. It's about leading change, not just reacting to it.
Couldn't have said it better myself. The competitive edge, it doesn't come from what you already know. It comes from your ability to be flexible, to be a proactive learner, to step up and lead, even when things are changing all around you. That's the magic formula.
I'm taking notes. This is gold.
Good. So, as we wrap up, I want you to think about this. With all these forces swirling around you, what's one action, one concrete step you can take today to boost your professional standing?
Yeah, how can you, as an administrator, start building that brand, that reputation that becomes your shield against all these competitive pressures?
Food for thought.
Definitely a lot to chew on. This is a framework that can really empower our listeners. Give them the tools to analyze their own situation, make smart moves.
Absolutely.
We encourage everyone to keep digging into these ideas, keep thinking strategically about your career path. It's a journey, not a destination.
Very well said.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive, everyone. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, keep pushing forward. See you on the next episode.
See you then.